Level 1, the recruit. You're 19. You didn't stumble into this. You applied 3 times, failing the first 2 fitness tests, passing the third barely. A letter arrives. United States Army, Armor Branch. Report to Fort Benning, Monday, 0500 hour. No negotiation, no delay. 40 recruits enter the converted warehouse-turned-training facility. By the end of 2 weeks, 8 quit. Days begin before dawn and end after dark. 6-mile runs before breakfast. Push-ups until your arms forget what straight feels like. Classroom hours filled with vehicle systems, military law, and tactical doctrine. Sergeant Palmer never shouts. He stands silently behind you. One morning, a recruit mutters, "That's not fair." Palmer doesn't blink. Drop. Whitfield drops. Gone by Friday. You learn quickly. Silence can hurt as much as words. By the end of basic training, 23 remain. You finally touch a tank, heavy steel that feels both alien and essential. The hatch, the levers, the smell of oil and grease. It's overwhelming, but it's yours now. You are handed your first uniform, patches, and helmet, heavier than expected, not from metal, but from meaning. You've survived the first step. You've learned how to follow, endure, and obey. And somewhere deep down, pride flickers. You are no longer a civilian. You are a soldier, a tanker in the making. Level 2, the crewman. You're 20, assigned to your first tank, M1 Abrams. You're the loader, part of a 4-man crew, driver, gunner, commander, and you. Specialist Rivera, the gunner, is precise. Private Lee, the driver, barely speaks. Sergeant Mills, the commander, watches everything with quiet patience. Days are long. Maintenance, drills, gunnery practice, endless repetition. Every round, every movement matters. One hesitation during a live fire exercise earns a sharp glance from Mills. You correct instantly, faster, cleaner. You realize quickly, being a crewman isn't about showing off. It's about flawless execution under pressure. Between the drills, you feel the rhythm of the tank, the weight of its steel, the power in your hands. Every day pushes your body and mind, but the real lesson comes in silence. Trust your crew, anticipate the next move, respect the machine. The first convoy exercise tests all of it. Terrain uneven, visibility low, orders come fast, and mistakes aren't forgiven. You fire when needed, hold when told, and learn that timing is everything. By the end of your first year as a crewman, you understand the first truth of tank life. It's never just about hitting targets. It's about coordination, trust, and the people riding with you. Level 3, the gunner. You're 22. Promotion comes quietly. Your precision and timing earned it. Now you control the tank's main gun. Hundreds of pounds of steel and explosives move at your command. One miscalculation could cost your crew everything. Every day is a mix of repetition and pressure. Moving targets, low-light drills, rapid-fire scenarios. Sergeant Mills watches, never praising, only nodding when you anticipate problems before they appear. Each drill drills more than skills. It drills discipline, patience, and calm under fire. Convoy exercises push you further. Terrain is rough, visibility low, communications sometimes garbled. Orders come through. Support Bravo Company, hold Sector 6, coordinate with Platoon. You fire when required. You don't fire when you shouldn't. Every decision carries weight. Every action matters. By year's end, you know this. It's not just about hitting the target, it's about timing, trust, and keeping your crew alive, even when chaos surrounds you. Level 4, the tank commander. You're 24. Staff Sergeant Klein moves to another platoon. You're taking the seat, he says. The commander's hatch, the place where all decisions converge. Specialist Turner, your gunner. Private Ellis, your loader. Your driver rotates. They look to you now, not constantly, but enough. Every order you give ripples through the tank. One hesitation, one miscalculation, and the rhythm collapses. Night exercises, urban drills, live fire maneuvers, you calculate distances, timing, angles. Your words are short, precise, and carry weight. Field exercises teach you the first lesson of command. It's not about your tank, it's about your crew. You coordinate, anticipate, and correct silently. Mistakes aren't punished with anger, they're corrected with calm precision. By the end of your first year as commander, you understand what it means to hold lives and machines in balance. The crew moves as one. The tank obeys. Level 5, Section Leader. You're 27. 2 additional tanks move under your guidance. 3 tanks, 12 soldiers. Your voice carries differently now, not louder, steadier. Orders ripple through the crews because they trust your judgment, not your rank. The first exercises test everything. One tank hesitates, another misreads terrain. You adjust, slow the movement, correct without shouting. Silence is your tool. Precision is your weapon. Every decision, pause, and command has consequences. Night maneuvers sharpen your understanding. Coordination, timing, communication. They are everything. One misstep could cascade into chaos. You learn to watch, anticipate, and correct before problems appear. You realize leadership isn't control, it's influence. The weight of responsibility grows, but the tanks move as one. The crews trust you. You begin to feel the first real sense of mastery. The section follows because they believe in your choices, not because they have to. Level 6, Platoon Sergeant. You're 31. You're no longer in a single tank. You command a full platoon. 4 tanks, 16 soldiers, dozens of moving parts. Exercises are no longer drills for you. They're orchestras you must conduct. Terrain is unpredictable. Comms drop out. Crews make mistakes. Your first live convoy through simulated urban combat goes sideways when a tank misreads a turn. You don't panic. You make split-second adjustments, rerouting the formation, giving clear, concise orders over broken radios. The platoon follows. The exercise is saved. You feel a surge not of pride, but of responsibility earned in real time. Beyond the exercises, you manage logistics, vehicle maintenance, and rotations. You mentor junior leaders, helping them solve problems you didn't even know existed a year ago. Nights are long, reviewing maps and after-action reports, anticipating scenarios your soldiers haven't faced yet. You begin to see the bigger picture, how decisions in training ripple into readiness, morale, and safety. Being a platoon sergeant isn't just about giving orders. It's about shaping a team that can survive the chaos you might never witness firsthand. Level 7, Instructor or Specialist. You're 34. The Army pulls you from your platoon to train others. Now, your responsibility isn't just one crew, it's every soldier who passes through your program. You watch rookies fumble with hatch controls, misload rounds, or misread gauges, and you don't step in immediately. Instead, you let them learn the hard way, stepping in only when mistakes risk real consequences. Teaching is a different battle. Patience becomes a weapon, observation a shield, and every correction a lesson in timing and judgment. Live fire exercises become classrooms, but the lessons are brutal and precise. A misaligned gunner, a slow loader, a hesitant commander, each error is a story you replay in your mind, analyzing how you could guide them better. You start to see the patterns of human error, the small habits that make the difference between chaos and seamless execution. By the end of each cycle, the rookies walk taller, operate cleaner, and think faster. But it's invisible work. Your reward isn't applause. It's the knowledge that when they succeed under fire, a part of you is still in the tank with them. Level 8, Operations Leader or Company Officer. You're 38. You don't ride a tank anymore. Your battlefield is now maps, radios, and people you'll never see all at once. 4 platoons move under your direction, and each is a small, imperfect machine with its own quirks. One platoon gets lost on a training exercise. Another misreads a signal and collides in formation. The exercise looks like chaos from above, but your job is to anticipate it, reroute, and make the error invisible to anyone outside your command. Your hands don't fire rounds, but your mind fires solutions. Every misstep in planning becomes a puzzle you must solve before anyone notices the cracks. The human element is trickier than steel. Soldiers burn out, arguments flare, egos clash. You negotiate, redirect, and mentor, often in the middle of a crisis, while keeping your own stress invisible. A convoy simulation goes wrong. One tank breaks down, another hesitates, radios cut out. You call new orders, anticipate the terrain, and reroute the platoons across uneven ground without letting the chaos show. You realize the real skill isn't controlling tanks. It's moving an entire company through complexity without anyone outside your seat ever realizing how close it came to failure. Level 9, Brigade Commander. You're 50. You don't sleep in the tank anymore. You barely touch the controls. Your battlefield is the command post, the operations maps, and the lives of soldiers you may never meet individually. Awards, discipline, training budgets, inter-unit coordination. These are your daily missions. You spend mornings negotiating with higher-ups, afternoons reviewing reports, evenings mentoring company leaders. Decisions are less about speed and precision now, and more about foresight, subtlety, and influence. One email, one directive can ripple through hundreds of soldiers' days without anyone noticing. the human side dominates everything. You're mediating conflicts between platoons, balancing the ambitions of young officers, and maintaining morale across the battalion. You attend ceremonies, welcome new families, counsel soldiers after personal tragedies. There are no medals for this, no dramatic victories, but the impact is profound. You realize the job is not about what you see on the field. It's about shaping the environment, the culture, and the people, so that when a real fight comes, they operate without thinking of you at all. Level 10, the end of the line. You're 55, the tanks are gone, the barracks empty, the smell of diesel and grease replaced by polished floors and echoing hallways. You sit in the stands at your retirement ceremony, surrounded by soldiers who once looked up to you, now grown into leaders themselves. Speeches are made, awards handed out, photos taken. But the real work, the lessons, the struggles were never captured in ceremonies. You remember your first hatch, the nervous hands on levers, the way your crew learned to move as one. Those moments live in you more than any medal. Driving home that night, the city quiet around you, your mind traces every memory. Convoy exercises under the scorching sun, nights spent maintaining tanks under the stars, the quiet victories no one celebrated, the faces of soldiers who trusted you, some long gone, some now teaching the next generation. You realize the career wasn't measured in rounds fired or maneuvers executed. It was measured in how the people you led grew, how they carried your lessons forward, and how the tanks you commanded became extensions of the soldiers themselves. The engines are silent now, but the work you did echoes far beyond the metal and steel.